Right, we're going to get your headliner out, please, everybody. Give it up for Ash Frith!
How are we doing? Good, that's good. I don't know why comedians do that. We do that all the time. I don't know, you've all seen plenty of comedians. Every one of us, we come out and we go, how are you doing? Like, I don't know what I'd do if you weren't okay. That's the problem. I'm in no way qualified if any of you have got any issues at all. Unless you want to know how to maintain colossal weight whilst being a vegan, I can't help you. Carbs is the answer. Carbs and Skittles. They're all vegan. Is that solved? It's great to be here. It's great to be here. Although I should clarify that I am actually the father of a 7-month-old baby. So it's just great to be anywhere. That is the truth. Anywhere that isn't the house I previously called home, I'm delighted to be there. Genuinely true this is, right? If Jason had phoned me today at lunchtime and said, sorry, the gig's been pulled today, I would still be here now. Absolutely true. I'd still be here, I'd still be there, I'd just be laying on the floor, fast asleep. It's not been good. I'm struggling, is the truth of it. I am struggling. It's weird because people kept saying to me, but I've got 2 kids already. I've got a 15-year-old and I've got a 3-year-old. And people kept going, you need to have a baby, complete the family. You've got to complete your family, it'll make your family, it'll complete your family. And it's not until you have a kid that you realise maybe it was already complete. It's too late then, though, isn't it? No one warned you of that. It's like IKEA furniture. You know you're putting together a bit of IKEA furniture, you get to the end, and then there's another bit left over. And you go, well, what are we going to do with that? We don't need that bit. What do we chuck it away? What do we do? Get rid of that? No, we'll keep it in case something goes wrong one in the other bits. I tell you what, he better have the same blood type as me or one of the other kids. I'm looking at those little kidneys, I'm thinking we might be needing them. People said, I'll be making of you, have a kid, it'll be the making of you. It has made me an arsehole. I've become a prick, I genuinely have. The other day I was watching one of those appeals, you know daytime TV, they have those appeals. I was watching one, it said every day 2,000 people sleep rough on the streets of the UK. And I watched that and I went, bastards. Sleeping. That's not an appeal, that's a humble brag. That's what that is. I'm not coping at all. I'm not doing anything. Either the truth of it, my wife's breastfeeding, right? I'm doing nothing. I change a few nappies. I am struggling. I'm getting a full night's sleep. I'm exhausted. She's a hero. She's such a... When the baby come out, right, it was 11 pounds 3 ounces. That's the correct response there. You shuddered with that. That noise as well. That's a big baby. That's a big toddler, is what that is. When he come out and they said he's right, I thought he was going to be wearing a school uniform. It's fucking massive. She didn't give birth. She opened her legs and gravity sucked him out. He was on a bungee cord. I said to my wife, I said, I feel like such a monster. You've gone through all of that. You are a superhero. And I'm an idiot. I'm doing nothing. I'm exhausted. I'm pathetic. You're a hero. I don't know how you're doing it. And she said, yeah, I know that you think that, Ash. But I feel like I'm like a duck. And I said, I thought about it. And eventually I went back to her, I went, I think I've worked it out. You're like a duck because on the surface you're peaceful and serene and beautiful, but underneath you're kicking just as hard as you can to stay afloat and move forward a little bit every day. And she said, no, I think I'm like a duck because I'm still pissing and shitting out the same hole. Now, 2 things about that joke, right? One, she said it, so if you think that's horrible, that's on her, right? And if you want to take her on, she is a furious woman at the moment, right? She's on the edge. Secondly, a duck pisses and shits out the same hole, it's called a cloaca, right? If you don't know that, I can't do the biology for you. You need to know that. It's on you, that is on you. Jesus. It's weird, it's only when you become a parent of a newborn baby that you realise you've got a tolerance level for the amount of shit you're prepared to have on yourself and still leave the house. Like if you'd have asked me before I had kids, like how much shit are you prepared to have on you and leave the house? I'd go, none. None shit at all. Not a drop. The other day I was about to leave the house and my wife went, have you got shit on your arm? I went, well, it's either shit or chocolate. I'm not sure. As I previously mentioned, I'm a vegan, so the odds are that's not chocolate. And I looked at it and I went, it's only a bit. And we went out! Turns out my tolerance level is a bit of shit. Who knew that? It's such a weird thing as well. Like I recently recovered from COVID, right? I've lost my sense of smell and taste. And so literally, I think it should be, if you're a parent of a newborn and you've had COVID, you've lost your sense of smell and taste, you should be able to get, you know, like blind people have a seeing eye dog and deaf people get a hearing dog. Parents who've got little tiny babies and have had COVID should have a smelling nose dog. So as you're about to leave the house, the dog goes, woof, no mate, you are covered in shit. I mean, you cannot go out like that, you have to get changed. I'm struggling to bond with him, but I think because I'm not feeding him and all of that stuff, it is difficult to bond. People go, oh, you'll be love at first sight. It's not. It's hard. I'm trying. My wife suggested we try baby massage. Have we heard of baby massage? I was like, oh, we can, but I don't know. I don't know if it's... I don't think he's got the strength in his thumbs. I don't know. And I'm very stressed as well. I'm celebrating today, actually. I'm celebrating today because today is the day I finally found out that I'm my 3-year-old daughter's favourite parent. So I know it shouldn't be a competition. I do know that. I know it's meant to be teamwork. But I also know every parent in this room is trying to be the favourite parent. I've been working at it for a very long time. Little things, I've just been doing it, and today I got that finally. It's been coming on for a long time. Like, my daughter, she'll walk into the kitchen and she'll say, Daddy, can I have a little piece of chocolate? And I'll say, have you asked your mum? And she'll say, yeah. And I'll say, what did Mummy say? And she'll say, Mummy said no. And I'll go, come on then, you little skunk, let's get you some chocolate. Come with Daddy. And I open up the chocolate cupboard. Yes, well, the chocolate cupboard, because it contains chocolate, it's not made of chocolate. No. I don't live in Willy Wonka's chocolate factory, despite my appearance. Not every furniture in my house is made of food. Get her some chocolate. The other day, I opened up the cupboard and she looked and she saw my wife's Toblerone. And it blew her mind, right? And you can use this. This is something, if you want to subtly get back at your partner, but you don't want to give it away, right? You can do this. My daughter went, what is that? The golden packaging, the red right in the triangular shape. She was blown away. And I said, that is Mummy's sharing chocolate. Now, every time my wife goes and breaks off a bit of Toblerone, my daughter's just there like, yes, please, Mummy. Yeah? She's furious. My wife is absolutely furious. So, but yeah, I'm trying to... It sort of first happened, like 2 months ago, I think it was my birthday, right? 2 months ago, my birthday, and my 3-year-old daughter bought me an iPad. When that happened, I was like, I think I'm number one. Like, I wanted an iPad, she bought me an iPad. You don't seem impressed by that. A 3-year-old child bought me an iPad. I wanted an iPad. Well, today I had confirmation I'm number one, because today is my wife's birthday, and my 3-year-old daughter bought her fuck all. Literally nothing at all. She didn't even get her a card. She didn't even make her a card sticking it's a shitty pasta on it, nothing at all. My wife was so angry she couldn't even talk to me. I was glad to get out of the house. Yeah, it's nice. It's great to be out. Like everyone's been through shit for 2 years, but it's been especially difficult for comedians, right? I know you're thinking, oh yeah, poor comedians, but it has. The way that we work is we go out into the world, we say and do stupid things and act like idiots. Those things happen to us, and we come and we talk to you about it, right? That's how it is as a comedian. But for 2 years, nothing happened to anyone. And then it was weird. It'd be weird if I come out and go, oh, a funny thing happened to me the other day, because you'd go, no, it didn't. Nothing happened to any of us. And it's weird, it felt disingenuous to come out and go like, and start telling jokes we were telling 2 years ago, 3 years ago, coming out and being like, oh yeah, this funny thing happened to me, and then it wouldn't be true. It's weird. So it's just, we were at home, we were stuck in, trying to think of things to write about, and I just had to sort of think about those things that happen in the house, things that maybe happened to me that maybe happened to you, those sort of shared experiences. Because we run out of things to sort of lie to ourselves about doing, didn't we? We set ourselves these unrealistic standards in lockdown that we couldn't maintain. Like, I've always been like, I'd lose a bit of weight if I just had the time. I'd do a meal plan if I just had the time. I'd get fit. I'd really get fit. If I just had an hour a day to go for a run, I'd get fit. I'd turn that garage into a home gym. If I just had a weekend to myself. I've always wanted to learn German and the guitar. If I just 2 hours a day, I'd learn it. And then the government mandated it that we had all the time in the world. You're not allowed to do anything, you've got to stay in. And we had to think of other excuses of things to do, didn't we? Start making up things. Like I went out the back of my house one day and went, this needs a decking. I built a decking. I'm not a carpenter, never done anything like it. I've essentially built a death trap at the back of the house. My wife got really into it. She said, we're going to do Joe Wicks. Every day we're going to do Joe Wicks. Give me a cheer who did Joe Wicks. Yeah, loads of people did Joe Wicks. Give me a cheer if you're still doing Joe Wicks. Of course you're fucking not. No one is. We all started it, we gave up. I watched it the other day. All it is now is Joe Wicks goes, how many we got watching? And then someone else goes, none. And he goes, of course we fucking haven't. Of course we haven't. He's depressed now, Joe Wicks. And we did that to him. I've never heard of the prick before lockdown. Never heard of him. My wife said, we're going to do Joe Wicks tomorrow morning, 9 o'clock. I said, who the fuck's Joe Wicks? She went, he's a TV chef. I went, why are we listening to fitness advice from Joe Wicks, a TV chef? Like, I like Ainsley Harriott, but I'm not doing his hot yoga workout. Every Monday to Thursday, go on your PE kit. Friday was Fancy Dress Friday. Fuck off, Joe Wick, you pirate prick. He comes as a pirate every day. I'm not doing it. But we did. I got really into it. So you did it, didn't you? You were like, you did it, yeah. It's good, it was good fun. Every day I did my lunges, I did my star jumps, I did my squat thrusts. Me and my wife doing it. It was great, it was really good. And then after about a week, she had to go back to work because she's a hero. I'm a key worker. Fuck off then. You're not welcome in this house. She went off to work. She went, you will still keep doing Joe Wicks, didn't you? I said, of course I will. A few days, I did Joe Wicks, 9 o'clock every morning, did my squat thrusts, did my lunges, did my star jumps, did my stretches. And then eventually I missed a day, right? I just missed it. I watched it. And then my wife came home and she went, did you do Joe Wicks today? And I went, I watched Joe Wicks today. And then she went, oh, and what did you do? I went, well, Joe did lunges, star jumps. She went, I'm really proud of you. I'm really proud. And then I realised I didn't even have to do it. She wasn't really listening. And after a while, I just started watching Joe Wicks. At 9 o'clock, I'd sit there, put Joe Wicks on, and I'd watch her and she'd come home and I'd tell her everything that happened. And then a few days after that, I realised I didn't have to watch it live. I got up at noon. I watched it on catch up on YouTube. I skipped through it all. What did he do? Star jump, squat thrust, lunges and stretching. She was so proud of me. Until one day she came home at lunchtime and she caught me sitting on the sofa in my pants, eating crisps, skipping through Joe Wicks. She went, what the fuck's going on here? This is disgusting, you're a slob. And what's worse than that, why are you eating those crisps? I said, well, I'll be honest, I was hungry, I wanted to watch Joe Wicks, I let things slide. She went, I don't give a fuck about that, why are you eating the posh crisps? What do you mean the posh crisps? Those crisps, they're posh, they're hand-cooked, they cost £2.50 a bag, and they are not for you. I said, why are they in my house then? And I don't care if they're £2.50, I paid for them, didn't I? And she said, no, you can't eat them. They're for guests. I said, we're in the worst global pandemic there's ever been. We haven't had guests for 2 years. As far as we're aware, we're not going to have guests again for another 2 years. Who are these for? She went, well, they're not for you. I know that much. Those are hand-cooked crisps. I said, what the fuck does that mean? What does that mean? There's no such thing as a posh crisp either. That's an oxymoron. The poshest crisp I can think of is a Quaver because it's cheesy and it's curly. That's it. Well, mate, these are crisps. She went, no, they're hand-cooked. I said, I don't think that's a thing. You're looking at me like it is. It's not, is it? It's not a thing. She thought it was. She said, Ash, this has got to change. I'm setting you jobs tomorrow. I said, well, you could try setting me jobs, but I'm actually very busy. She said, you've got to do the cleaning, you've got to do the dusting, you've got to do the ironing. I said, well, if I can fit it in tomorrow, I am actually thinking about starting my Icelandic language course tomorrow. She went off to work. She come home about 6 o'clock. She went, did you get those jobs done? I said, I got a job done. She said, well, that's a start. What did you do? I said, well, I emailed kettle chips. She went, well, why'd you email kettle chips? I said, well, I sent an email and I said, why are these crisps hand-cooked? In what way are these crisps hand-cooked crisps? And to be fair to them, kettle chips come back straight away, right? And they said, our hand-cooked crisps are cooked in small batches to ensure quality. I said, well, that's not an answer. I went straight back to him. I said, you've basically explained what it says on the packet there. You haven't really told me. Can you please tell me in what way are these crisps in any way cooked by hand? Like, are they pulled from the ground by hand by a farmer? Are they wafer thin sliced by a team of chefs? No, that's not true, not buying it. Are they heated by hand? Does someone rub their hands together, creating a friction to pass them over the crisps and heat them up with just sheer force of will? I'm not buying it, it's bullshit. And as well, why does something being touched by hand double the value of it? Surely it's the other way round. If I go to Tesco to buy a meal deal and the sandwich says on it, this hasn't been touched by an apprentice's fingers, I'll pay £3 for the sandwich alone. I went to the Ivy recently, right? If I'd have asked the waiter what's the most expensive thing on this menu, he wouldn't have gone, oh, that's the fisted steak. Second most expensive, the fingered lasagna. That's it. Oh, what's that? Oh, what happens is the chef makes a lasagna, he then goes, ah, and that's 500 quid. I said, in what way is this hand-cooked? Please tell me, in what way is this hand-cooked? And then they came back and they said, they started the email like this, right? It said, sometimes. Now I'm thinking, that's not a strong start, is it? Sometimes. That's like if my wife says, when you have a shower, do you wash your legs? I say sometimes. I never have. Never washed my legs. Never happened. Yeah, sometimes. Never done it. Never done that in my life. That's the first time I've done it. I'm lucky if I get down to my ball bag. That's the truth of it. I didn't even know I could do that till it just happened. They followed up though. Sometimes, if required. Now there's three words that mean the same thing, isn't it? Never. What we're about to say to you never happens, is what it is. Sometimes, if required, our small batched hand-cooked crisps are stirred by hand by one of our excellent chefs. I call bullshit on that. It's 2022. I'm not allowed to eat peanuts on an aeroplane in case someone's got an allergy. There is no way there's a chap in the kettle chips factory stirring a batch of crisps over a boiling hot vat of oil. No, fuck! I need a stir. Not happening! My wife went, you're a pedantic prick. We need to do something. We need to do something. The next day, she turned up. She bought us matching Fitbits. Matching Fitbit, I don't need that. An activity tracker, a smartwatch, I don't need one. If I needed to be told, get up, get moving, every hour, my wife can do that for me. That's why I don't need my watch doing it as well. She come in, I said, what do we need these for? She said, we're going to match our activity. We're going to be in competition with each other. I was like, well, this isn't going well, is it? She come home the next day. She went, how many steps have I done today? She went, I've done 12,000 steps. How many have you done? 42 steps. That's not enough. That isn't enough steps. Worst of it was, my wife then worked out it's 30 steps to our fridge. So that means at some point during that day, I'd walk to the fridge to get some food, I'd made it 12 steps back to the sofa, collapsed to the floor, and then had to crawl back over there. I don't need it drummed home that how lazy I've become. A low point was, just as we were about to have sex one night, I saw her start a workout on her phone, on her watch. Like when you become a piece of fitness equipment, you know things have gone badly. I thought it couldn't get any worse until during I looked over, I caught a glimpse of the face of her watch. I could see her heart rate was 38 beats per minute. So either my wife has got the metabolism of an Olympic athlete, or I am shit in bed. My wife said, look, you've got to lose weight, you've got to shape up a little bit if we're going to start trying for a baby. I was like, I didn't know we were. She said, yeah, we've got to. I was like, oh yeah, that's right, yeah, in the worst global pandemic, let's bring another mouth to feed into the world. But then I thought she might leave me alone about the Joe Wicks stuff and the crisps. So I thought, yeah, let's try for a baby. If you don't know, essentially trying for a baby, all that really means is you tell each other's parents you're having sex. That's all it is. You just make it official to each other's parents. Like, her mum phones up every Sunday on the landline. I take the little glass coloche off of the phone. She's the only person who phones it. Hello. She goes, hello Ash, how you doing? I say, it's good, yeah, good, thank you. How are you? She goes, good. She says, what have you been up to? And I'll say, I'll be honest with you, Debbie, it's been mainly having sex with your daughter this week. We're trying for a baby, aren't we? Yeah, just joylessly plugging away at your daughter. It's so weird. Now, if you'd have told the 15-year-old me at some point in your life you'd be trying for a baby and that meant you're having sex all the time, I'd have thought that's incredible. But during trying for a baby, there was a football match on the Wednesday. I said, do you mind if I go to the pub and watch the football with the lads? My wife went, you can't go on Wednesday, I'm in the 3rd trimester of my ovulation cycle. We've got to have sex at 7:23, 8:04 and 11:02. It's been on the wall planner for weeks. I was like, oh yeah, I'll tell you what, nothing gets me hornier than a colour-coded wall planner. Whatever you do, don't touch me, I'm ready to explode. It didn't happen straight away. We were trying for a baby, it didn't happen straight away. And she started getting worried about things, like maybe there's something wrong. She started reading magazines and stuff about ways that you can try and help yourself to conceive. And there's one technique, I won't go into too much detail. Some of you, if you've tried for a baby, you'll have done it. It's called leaving it in. That's the laughter of people who know what it is, right? It's simple, really. All you do is, you put it in there, you leave it in there. Let it soak in. It's essentially the thing, let it percolate through properly. Nothing good has ever come from leaving anything in, has it? Where's little Timmy? Last time I saw him, he was by the pool. He'll be fine, leave him in. Not good! You know when you're cooking dinner and you go, is the garlic bread done? You go, not quite, leave it in. Half hour later, you're finishing your lasagna, you go, fuck the garlic bread! It's burnt to a fucking crisp! I've lost more garlic bread to leaving it in than I've ever eaten garlic bread. We still didn't conceive straight away, we kept trying. And then she found out this new technique that is like, it's this weird, it was weird. And it's after we'd done the dirty business, she folded her legs up over her head and tucked them into the headboard behind her. Just afterwards, right? I went, I don't think I could be in the room while this is going on. I think I'm going to go and play FIFA, I think. Whatever you do, don't cough. Be like the Bellagio fountain. Yeah, I wish I had said that out loud. But yeah, so it still didn't happen. So we carried on trying for a baby, and eventually my wife said, I think that one of us needs to go to the doctor and get checked out. And I said, okay, you go whenever you want. And she said, no, I think it's going to be the fat, overweight slob that probably needs to go. So I went over to the doctor, and he was great, he was really good. He did that thing, he checked my bollocks, he put them in, you know he does it and he says, do make sure that is done by a doctor though, that has to be, that can't be your mate John in the pub who does that, he's not qualified. He felt my bollocks, and he looked at me and he went, have you ever had any testicular trauma? And I went, well I saw my dad's when I was 7, I don't know if that counts. He said, you're fine, there's nothing wrong with you, you're fine, you need to lose a bit of weight, but everything basically works, you're going to be alright. He said, you're putting too much pressure on yourself, you need to relax, you need to calm down, relax, just try and enjoy yourself, spice things up a bit maybe. So I went home and I said to my wife, I said, the doctor says we've put too much pressure on, we just need to enjoy ourselves a little bit, we need to take the pressure off. And she said, okay, well, what do you want to do? What do you want to do that we don't do? And I don't mind telling you, ladies and gentlemen of Cambridge, I don't know. I've got quite vanilla taste, right? I've got no king. I wish I did. I wish I had a special way of spaffing up. I really do. But I haven't. I just normal. Just like, not normal, that's the wrong phrase. You don't need to know. The closest I've ever come closest I've ever come to a kink was once I was working on a building site and I was cutting some concrete slabs and another colleague was spraying water on the blade. It's a 110 volt metal cutter, concrete cutter. And as I was cutting, he's spraying the water on the blade to keep the dust down, and I noticed the lead was slightly frayed. After about an hour, my trousers were soaked through, and the lead touched up onto my jeans and made a perfect conductor right up into my gooch, and I went, oh! It was the most agonising thing that's ever happened to me, and then probably the most pleasurable thing that's ever happened to me. And I do not recommend you doing that, because the chances are you will just die. But you'll go out with a smile on your face, is the truth of it. I said, no, there's nothing. There's only one thing that we don't do sexually that I'd quite like to do. There's one thing, and that's sex from behind. Right? She doesn't like that. She said she doesn't trust what's going on back there. And that only cropped up once when she found hobnob crumbs in her bum crack. So it's fair enough. That is fair enough. Guilt, I am guilty there. But I'll tell you what I told her at the time. I said, a man's got to eat. It's hungry work. She said to me, we could try, maybe why don't we try like sexy dress up? Why don't we try some sexy dress up? I said, well, that's a one-way street, isn't it? That is. Like my wife, she's a very sexy lady, right? There's nothing sexier than my wife in sexy lingerie. I think it's incredible, right? The only thing sexier than that is my wife not in sexy lingerie. That's sexy. It doesn't work the other way. I can't walk into the lounge and go, well, these are my cleanest pants. That doesn't work. My wife walked in once, she went, these panties are crotchless. And I went, well, in a way, so are these, to be honest. I can fit my full fist through that gusset. There's not much fabric left in there. She said, why don't we try talking dirty to each other? I don't know if you've tried that, but that's not good. As a man, it doesn't work. Again, another one-way street. I can't do that. If I'm having a good time during sex, it's evident. You know what I mean? It's obvious. In fact, sometimes it's too obvious, is the point. She gave it a go. Sometimes when we're having sex, my wife will scream out things like, deeper, deeper. I honestly don't know what she thinks I'm holding back. We've been together 10 years. I don't know if she's expecting me one day to go, yeah, you're quite right, there you go. There's the full thing. I've had a couple of inches reeled in for all this time. I've been saving that for a rainy day. There you go. Happy birthday. It is what it is. It's all I've got. We decided we'd take the pressure off completely, right? We're going to take the pressure off completely. And we decided we were going to go away for a dirty weekend. Like, no pressure, we're just going to enjoy ourselves on this dirty weekend away. Went to Brighton. Do we all love Brighton? Yeah! Incredible place, I love Brighton so much, right? We went down to Brighton, and I did feel a bit of pressure, so I don't mind telling you that I took with me some Viagra. Right? I recommend it. Anyone in the room love Viagra? Just these two ladies. And this goes on it now. I recommend it. It's brilliant, right? It is brilliant. It's great. It just gives you a little bit the extra to it. I don't know, it is. It's great. I didn't tell her about it. I kept it a little secret. I thought it would be a lovely surprise, right? So we went out. We went for a few drinks. And then she said to me, at the end of the night, about 10 o'clock, she went, should we have another couple of drinks or should we go back to the hotel? And I knew that was code for should we go and have sex, right? So I was like, let's go back to the hotel. She went, I'm going to go to the bathroom, get freshened up, and then we'll go. So then I quickly took the Viagra out of my Viagra pocket and necked it, because I'd read on the packet it'd take an hour for Viagra to kick in, right? She then come back from the bathroom carrying a plate of shots. She went, fuck it, you only live once, let's do this! And I had to explain to her that it does not take an hour for Viagra to kick in. Because I had the kind of erection you only get in Year 9 geography. The men in the room will know what I'm talking about. It's very difficult to explain. Something about Year 9 geography when you're 13 that means you get the most powerful erection. Now, it must be something about Oxbow Lakes or Central District. I don't understand it, right? I had to do that thing that men do when you've got an erection you don't want. I had to put it up into my belt line and tighten my belt over the top of it. You're doing it now, I understand it, right? It's a fail-safe method, right? You hold it in there. And I said to her, right, I am literally ready to go. She loved it. She was like, this is incredible, what a turn on. So we started walking down Brighton Seafront, right, walking along, and this is great. She's all over me. I was like, this is incredible. And then we were approached by what I can only describe as a group of twats. And I knew they were twats because they were in their 30s and they were eating a McDonald's Happy Meal. That's how you can tell. And the ringleader, he stopped in front of us and then he said something that I don't know the answer to that doesn't involve a fight. I'd love you to tell me if you know the answer afterwards, please tell me. He went, what are you looking at? I went, I don't know, mate. Is it you? I don't know. What do you want? Turns out that was the worst thing I could have said. He was furious. He threw his milkshake at me, hit me, exploded. Before I could react, he punched me in the face, grabbed me by the throat and wrestled me down onto the floor. And we're having a fight on the floor, rolling around, trading punches, scuffling on the floor. And then there was a moment that we locked eyes and I knew that he knew I had the world's most powerful erection, and I'm just grinding it on him on the floor, over and over. He was fucking terrified. He was like, fuck, this bloke loves a fight. He loves a fight. I saw the blood drain out of his face and somehow into my penis. I don't know how that is even possible. And the bouncer come over from a nearby club, booted him away, pulled us apart, went, mate, I've seen everything that happened, told this guy to fuck off. He went, come over to my club, we'll get you cleaned up, we'll get you a few drinks, we'll get you back loving Brighton. I was like, seriously, mate? We just want to go back to the hotel room. My wife went, no, we don't, fuck it, you only live once, let's go! I said, oh no, he put his arm around us, he started marching us back towards his nightclub. And as we're approaching, a bouncer on the door steps forwards towards us. Our bouncer goes, it's all right, Steve, they're with me. He said, I'm going to get it cleaned up, get him a few drinks. And then Steve went, I'm going to have to search him. Something near her head. They went up there, he put his thumbs in my belt line, and he brought it round to the front. When he made contact with it, he lifted up my t-shirt, he looked like Darth Vader looking over a back fence. I promise you this is true. He pointed at it and went, is that a weapon? My wife went, he wishes. He looked at the milkshake splattered up my top. He went, you're not coming in here. You are not allowed in here. He sent us away. We marched back to our hotel room. I'm like, this hasn't gone as I thought it was going to at all. I opened up the hotel room door. My wife literally stumbles through, over the toilet, head down it, puking up. By this point, the Viagra's worn off, I'm flaccid, it's gone, it's rubbish. I catch a glimpse of myself in the mirror, blood, scrapes and bruises. I've got this congealed mess squirting up myself. I was like, this is a low, low point. This is the lowest point I've ever reached. And then I realised, earlier me, I'd bought myself a little treat. And I'd taken with me a pop noodle for this very occasion. And we all know that that'll lift the mood, won't it? So I was like, I'm all right. And I got myself a little pop noodle and I used the hotel kettle, carefully poured it all on. I'm going to wait the 2 minutes before I put the sachet in. I'm going to do this properly. And then just as I'm about to tuck into it, my wife lifted her head from the toilet, face and hair covered in puke, pointed at it and went, that's hand-cooked. She's fucking right. Ladies and gentlemen, this is one of the best gigs in the country. Thank you so much for having us. My name is Frith. I'll see you all soon. Cheers.